serious transformation. And I am super, super excited to share this lady's story with you. It's profound and it will definitely give you some food for thought. So let me start with this.
My name is Melanie Peterson with Center for Low Carb Living. I've spent the majority of my adult life overweight and unhappy. I was hiding from the world. It was easy to pick up my husband's clothes and hide in those because nothing I had fit well, and I certainly didn't want to be seen in it. I didn't have many friends. I didn't go out. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't have the energy to play with my kids. I was unhappy, unhealthy, and it showed. I found keto, and through keto and a consistent workout schedule, I was able to lose an incredible 100 pounds in 15 months. Through my journey and experience, I've developed 3 key elements that offer my clients results further and faster. The first is coaching. The development of a highly specialized nutrition strategy that works for each individual is key. Next, we look at heart rate ranges so that my clients can burn the most fat in the least amount of time. Lastly, but most importantly, we look at the emotional component of human behavior. Why do my clients do what they do? Why are they eating things that they know that are unhealthy for them? Why are they skipping out on the gym? And why are they not taking care of themselves? My approach to personal training is a combination of cheerleader, unconditional supporter, and brink of death and back. Not everyone likes to train at the same intensity or exertion. No 2 training sessions are alike with me, just as no 2 clients are alike. I design safe, fun, and out-of-the-box workouts each time my clients walk into the gym. They never know what to expect, which helps them get out of their head and out of their comfort zone. I also have a keto bakery with over 40 items on my menu, both sweet and savory. I've got biscuits, I've got breads, pita chips, bagels, cakes, cookies, brownies, I've got cupcakes, and donuts. I strive to create new and exciting tasty treats so people don't feel as if they don't have any options or are alienated from their friends, family, coworkers who aren't following a low-carb keto lifestyle. You know, there's nothing more important than living a happy, healthy life. I'm here and ready to support those who are looking to make lifestyle changes in order to feel good, be happy, and live a healthy, balanced life.
Wow. Talk about transformation. So I am going to bring up the one and only Melanie Peterson. Yay, here you are. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited for you to share this because there's so much information and such a internal and external transformation that you have. So first, let's just kind of recap what we just watched. Share more about how did you come about finding keto? Let's start there.
Well, I've been bigger, smaller, all kinds of different shapes throughout my life. And I never knew quite why I was bigger or smaller at any given time. But I got really fit in college, and then I got married, and I had some kids, and I got big, and I stayed big for probably 8 to 10 years. And it was really heavy, not only physically, but emotionally. And I was a personal trainer, so I knew the old adage, calories in, calories out, move your body, all these kind of things. And back then it was eat low fat. But it got to a point where I started getting severely depressed, and I started to isolate physically, emotionally, spiritually. I really withdrew from the world, and I felt like I was alive, but I wasn't living, like I was just this empty carcass. And I had attended so many retreats and seminars to try to figure out like what my problem is. I know the tools to get to live healthier, to live happier, but I just refused to do it. It was just this hard block of not happening. And it was in October of 2017, I was laying on my kitchen floor, and I just got tired of feeling like a lifeless soul, that I had no meaning, no purpose, no value. Why was I even here if I wasn't showing up at all anyway? And I remember being on the floor in tears, ready to take my own life. And at the time, I had a friend of mine who had been to a lot of the same seminars and retreats that I had went to, and she had started going to CrossFit and this keto thing, whatever that was, and she had lost 70 pounds. And in that split second where it was take my life or take my life back, I decided to message her on Facebook. And I was like, hey, Shelly, this is where I'm at. I'm scared. I'm ready to do this. I don't know that I want to, but this is where my mind is taking me right now. I'm in a dangerous state. And she says, girl, let me help you. And I like, okay, I'm all yours. And she told me about her cutting some carbohydrates, but mostly cutting sugar and moving her body and actually doing the journaling and all of the things we learned in the retreats and seminars. And bada bing, bada boom, I haphazardly figured it out. Back then there wasn't fancy trackers and there really wasn't a lot of keto foods on the market. So it was a process to get started, to say the least. But what happened is taking those sugars out of my nutrition helped my mental state in ways that I could never like express. It was a profound feeling and a transformation that I didn't necessarily try for, but it was when I would get depressed or sad, upset, I would make up a batch of raw cookie dough and I would eat it right out of the bowl until I felt sick. It was disgusting what I was doing to myself, and that sugar was really causing chaos in my thinking. So it really set the stage for me to be able to think clearly so I could actually feel better and do those things that I knew that were good for me.
Wow. And I put it up there on the screen, take my life or take my life back. That's just a really big transitional moment and so profound just to have that. And thank goodness you had that friend that you could reach out to and say, hey, help me.
Yes, I'm blessed. If it hadn't been for me, I don't think I would have been able to overcome that. It was a very deep, nasty, dark place that I didn't know how to get out of. And I needed support and I needed to stop that isolation and to stop that hiding. But I was not in a place emotionally to bring about that change.
Yeah. Wow. So now you are a coach. You are teaching people how to find their little selves.
Yes.
So how do you help somebody?
So when someone comes to coaching, as you can see from my sizzle reel, I do a lot of different things. We do nutrition. I am a personal trainer. I have a lot of metaphysical credentials in my background. But the very first thing we work on is emotional fitness or inner sides. And literally what that means is we get you into a position where you start feeling better so that you can do better. When you feel terrible, it's really hard to put your best foot forward. So it's digging deep and finding out what the block is. Is it a self-limiting belief? Is it somebody else's limiting belief? Is it lack of social support? Is it lack of self-love, self-compassion? All these different things. We kind of look at what's going on and what they really want to achieve, because I can speak from personal experiences. It started about the weight loss, but in the end, it was nothing about the weight loss, Kimberly. It was about how beautiful I felt inside, the confidence that I had, the fact that I felt positive and I had energy and I wanted to give and I really wanted to live and experience. And that's the first thing I bring my clients. The second is nutrition. We want to get good quality whole foods into their systems and getting the right balance of macronutrients in and energy. And then lastly, the exercise. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's got to be first. Well, sure, but if you don't feel good with what you're doing and you don't have a good grasp on your nutrition, then all that time at the gym might just negate the times that we slip or the times that we rely on the willpower versus having a really awesome goal that you tie massive emotion around so that you're pulled to it. You get up every morning like, yes, I want to do that. I'm totally going for this, instead of, oh, I have to go to the gym again. Oh, right? So it's a three-prong approach with me, and we go deep. And the reason for that is I don't want my clients to be statistics. I want them to lose this emotional weight, lose that physical weight. And this is a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not a quick fix. I want to set the stage for them to not have to do the dips and valleys with weight and emotional fitness anymore.
That's such, hitting from all three aspects is so important. And I think it's interesting that you start with the inner size, which I love that terminology. And then something that you brought up, which is really important, is what you're putting in your body helps you at the gym.
Correct.
I mean, you can't eat a bowl of cookie dough and go to the gym and expect to have this great, awesome workout. It's not going to work. Sounds good, but it's not going to work. So I think it's really important that you're hitting on all three aspects and helping people realize that it's not just about the exercise, because it's never just about the exercise. I've seen people, and even myself, I've dropped more weight in times that I've needed to by not working out as much as one would think. And to wrap your mind around that's kind of like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
You know,
is kind of, I put my journey in a nutshell, it would be a 180-degree thought change from what I figured it would be, what my expectations would be. Anything that made sense didn't really work out, and everything that made no sense at all worked like gangbusters. So part of that was letting go of the need to control and trusting the process and trusting my body and listening to my body, not only for the physical cues for hunger and what it actually wanted for energy, but the emotions that were firing, that were desperately crying out for my attention, that I was totally ignoring.
I think you brought up a very good point, and I want to touch on that, and it's trusting yourself. And I've been looking at that a lot recently. So it's interesting that you brought it up, because I've been creating programs for my coaching stuff. And one of the things that keeps coming up for me personally and for clients is about trusting yourself. And so to realize and recognize that it's important to trust yourself, even in everything you do, especially the weight loss, because, 3 days, 5 days into a diet, you're like, this isn't working. You haven't seen any difference. You jump on the scale, you might have gained weight because you're bloated, and you're like, forget it. And it's about not only trusting the process, but truly trusting in yourself that you're doing the right thing. And that's so, so important.
I can't.
I want to bring up, because I know your story and I love it. You told me a story in the Goddess Virtual Summit that I had about what was it? You went running every day. So tell that story, because it goes perfectly with about trusting yourself and trusting the process. So would you share that?
I would. December of 2018, that I got this grandiose idea that if I ran 5K every single day and I was on point with my keto nutrition, that I would lose weight like crazy. I would build my muscle mass and the inches would just fall off my body. I thought, okay, calories in, calories out, right? Kind of thing. And so I did that. And it was so many miles and it was so hard. At one point, I think I put on my 20-pound weighted vest because I thought, okay, we're going to burn more calories, make this just amazing. And so Sunday came along and I did my girth measurements and I did my weight, and my weight was the same, roughly, like maybe 1 or 2/10 of a pound more or less. And I was like, well, that stinks. So I did the girth measurements next, and I thought, okay, well then the inches are coming up, right? No, my inches were up. And I thought, this is not cool. This is not fair. This is not what I signed up for at the beginning of the week. And I want to be smaller, but my personal training mind goes, okay, well, hypertrophy, you are in my thighs and calves, right? So, well, hello, I'm running. And then, so then I do my body composition last, and I have my husband get the skin fold calipers out, and I'm thinking, okay, this is where the money's at, right? I lost so much fat, and the reason the scale didn't move was because I put on a lot of muscle mass. Okay, I can handle that. Yay. And that wasn't even the case. And I thought, what happened here? And I was so distraught. And like I told you, I stayed in bed for 3 days. I didn't want to see my husband. I didn't want to see my kids because I was ugly to myself because I was so angry that it didn't work out the way I wanted to, the way I planned, the way I intended. And it was like on that third day that all of a sudden this light bulb went off and went, okay, well, if you're exercising and you're running, you have a really high heart rate generally. And I'm now a fat burner from being on keto. And if I want to burn fat for fuel, I need to lower that heart rate down. And I thought, well, that's dumb. I'm not even gonna sweat. Like, really? So I did a bunch of calculations on what my fat burning zone is, and I thought, there's no way. There is no way this is gonna work. But what do I have to lose? So I got inspired and I got out of bed that day. And I went for like an interval jog where I kept my heart rate in the 60 to 70% of my max. And I did that for an entire week going, well, this is going to be a waste of time. And I would kind of have a little attitude about it because I was still angry from the week before, right? And this made no sense. But lo and behold, my inches were down. The scale was down. My body comp was down. I'm like, this does not compute. How is this possible that I can do some interval sprints, or I even was walking on a different week that I was testing this out, and I thought this is just feels wrong. It feels too easy. And not to say weight loss is easy because it is not, but it just didn't make any sense. But it worked, and that's what I've been doing from then till now. And I can't explain it other than burning the fat for fuel. But it just goes to show you that what we think we know doesn't always produce the best results. And that, like you're saying, and we're trusting the process, trusting our body, trusting that innately we know what's best, and to get out of your head and just move into what is feeling good for you.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's so important because you had a 3-day pity party.
I did.
Really. I mean, you had a 3-day pity party, and most people would have been like, I am done, back to the cookie dough, and forget it. It's not going to work for me. It's never going to work. I've tried everything now, but what was awesome in that moment for you is that you still had that trust in yourself, and you were still fighting to find a way and a process, and you did. It took that 3-day pity party for you to have that realization. I think that's important too. It's okay to have a pity party. Time for yourself and sit back and readjust how you're thinking, feeling, and be done, and then move on and look what you did. It's incredible.
A lot like 3 days. And what I learned through this process, I'm pretty black and white. I'm working on gray area as we speak. But it was like learning to rest, but not to quit, and to see value in the experience. And I think, one, I needed the 3 days to recover from running all that way, right? Physically, emotionally. I think it was just gathering myself again and building a stronger foundation and figuring out that those building blocks didn't work out so good. Didn't feel good while I was doing it either. I had blisters. I was just beat. I was probably really cranky. I mean, it probably wasn't a great week for everybody around me. Now it's much better.
Yeah, you do need to take that time too. And when you're so focused on doing something, and it's, weight loss business or whatever it is, sometimes we forget to take that time for ourselves. And you can't, I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. And we've heard that saying time and time again, but how many people actually follow that? You have to stop and take time for self-care and just relax and have do nothing days and be okay with it and get out of the guilt mind. I know a lot of times we should have like pajama day, binge watch Netflix or whatever it is for a whole day and not be guilty about it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. For my clients, especially my female clients, that's one of the first things they come to me with is I really have a problem putting myself as a priority. I don't know how to rest. I don't know how to relax. I feel bad if I sit down and somebody might need something. And it's a real big, serious issue. I mean, with men and women for sure. But I think as ladies, us caretakers, our nurturers, it's everyone else first. We may come last, may not come at all kind of thing. And then we get in a position where where I was, or worse, or somewhere in between. And it's catching that and learning that it's okay to put ourselves first, to be a priority, to be able to fill that cup. So one of the things that I'm actually teaching my kids right now, oddly enough, is pouring from a full cup, and we call it a love tank, kind of same premise. But I tell them you cannot show up for other people in the best manner you can if you are operating at half capacity. And let's face it, how often are we all running on fumes? Or, we're a race car and we're putting coffee in the gas tank rather than gas, right? It's not going to work out for very long, and our performance is not at our best.
Perfect example of that. How many times has somebody been driving their car and you're thinking about other stuff and you pass your exit? You're not in that present moment. You're not fully functioning at your perfect capacity of, being able to keep going. I do that all the time. I'm just like learning, like, oh, okay, pay attention. I'm driving. It's about being present.
Correct.
That's where recognizing when you need to take a break really comes in. Like, I can't move on. And I think it's really hard too for moms with younger kids, or even, dads with younger kids too. That's where you really start having that guilt, because nothing's ever done. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me. Somebody asked me one time if I could just do one thing guilt-free, what would it be? And I was like, take a nap. I want to take a guilt-free nap for like an hour. Trying to fit that into the schedule or doing that guilt-free, that's just impossible.
It was a big step for me to do anything for myself. I started having a list of things that I liked to do. And when I first had this assignment, I'm like, what? I have things I like to do. What? Oh, really? Are you sure? And slowly it evolved. And so what I would do is I would put that list by my light switch before I went to bed. And what I would do is make sure I checked off one thing from that list each and every day, irregardless of if it was 10 o'clock at night. I would have little tiny things that I could do, three things of gratitude for the day, or whatever it happened to be. But what happened is it slowly started to shift me into a position where I liked doing things for myself. I liked taking care of myself. And I needed accountability. And I ended up making a Committed to Healing journal, which culminated a lot of the things that I learned throughout my journey. And there was checklists in there and little guidance and tips, because I really needed to spoon feed myself, or I wasn't going to do it at the time. Now it's a habit, but moving that energy and seeing the value is where it had to start. But I had to start seeing the beauty and value in myself first before I started to invest that time and that energy in, which was a key critical component, is really being aware of who I am and the fact that I have worth and value, even if I'm doing nothing at all. I'm taking a guilt-free nap. I'm reading a book. I'm taking a bath, whatever that happens to be, that's okay.
Yeah. And I liked what you said there about spoon feeding yourself, little tidbits of things for you to do. And you made sure to check one off every night. I think that's a great wisdom tip. People can implement that right now. So tell us more a little bit about that. What specifically, like some items that you were writing down, so to give people an idea.
Oh, sure. So I journal a lot, either in the morning or in the evening to get feelings out. So journaling was on there. 3 things of gratitude for the day. I liked angel cards, so I was doing a lot of angel cards at the time. Some reading positive material, or going on YouTube and listening to Brene Brown or Tony Robbins, Sonny Don Johnston, just to name a few people. Bigger things would be like painting my nails, or taking a detox bubble bath. That was the big thing, the detox part of it. Or taking a walk barefoot to be able to ground in nature, getting some sunshine, moving my body for a few minutes. Crossword puzzles. There were just so many things. Or coloring. Coloring was a big thing. You guys probably all remember those from a couple years ago. It was like the thing. Yeah. I did coloring. It was
I
very
love it. Those are awesome.
Yeah. So, and it didn't have to cost money. I didn't have to go anywhere. I mean, it got to be a really big list, which was great. But in the beginning, it was just simple things that I could just do real quick and be like, oh, okay, all right, I did it. Yay. And so, because it wasn't because it felt good initially, it was just going through the motions and building up that muscle, if you will, of being excited about taking care of myself, because it didn't feel good at first. I'm not going to lie. It was like, this is foreign. I don't like it. This is a waste of time. There's a million other things that I could be doing right now. But then it shifted and it grew, and that's where I am today. And that's the amazing part, is just, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable for just a little bit till you get to the top of the hill, and then it's smooth sailing after that.
I love it. I love it. Even if you take 3 minutes to do something, whether it's just to sit quietly and just sit in gratitude instead of trying to be, the meditation where you don't think about anything, which is virtually impossible for me. So to sit in gratitude is much easier, because you're just allowing and you're opening yourself up for love and being grateful and so forth. And start at 3 minutes, go to 5, do something, walk for 3 minutes. I love that. Walk barefoot, be very grounded, get into, earth and nature. Very powerful stuff. And I love it. Spoon feed yourself every day. Great wisdom.
Yeah, it's to say the least. I really had to do a lot of healing instead of just coping, instead of just coasting with life. And part of that was being open to love, like not only loving myself, but even letting other people love me. I was brought up with conditional love. So it was very odd to have someone give me attention and love when I didn't feel like I deserved it. And it was a radical transformation in mind to be like, oh, well, it's okay for me to be loved at any time, even if I'm throwing a little fit, or, I'm not having the best day, or whatever it happens to be. I'm not showing up my best self. And what I learned is, through all that self-hate that I had, it was impossible to hate myself into a version I could love. And I'd spent a lot of time on the hate side and the gremlins and the negativity, and in this whole positive, like, oh, scary, I don't like it. Nope, not going there. And eventually I started going there, and it was a whirlwind of change. And it was this radical, whoa, holy smokes. It's like you talk about the ray of sunshine, like that little bit of hope. But it went, woo, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is so cool. How can people not want to be here? But I was so comfortable in my darkness that I wasn't even allowing the possibility of any kind of light or brightness or love to even permeate my life at all. And it's sad to know that I spent that much of my life there, but that's not where it's more like, hey, I got the rest of my life to show everyone else how amazing this is, and for me to live that to myself and make up for that lost time.
Absolutely. What an important thing you said about at least you recognize that you weren't able to allow it in, and to be able to share that story to help other people, because a lot of people feel that way and a lot of people go through that.
It's unfair. I grew up in a house where people weren't happy. They don't know that they knew how to be, or if it was the drugs or alcohol, or their own pain that they weren't willing to step into enough to heal through. But even on this journey of this 100-pound weight loss, I mean, it's great, but there are still times, and I'll just be raw and honest with you right now, that the fulfillment isn't there. It's almost like it's not real. It's almost like I'm putting a lid on it. Like, don't get too excited about it, because that's how I was conditioned as a child. And the biggest transformation for me, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, is stepping out of that childhood belief system, stepping out of the dark clouds that I, unfortunately, as a child was brought up around, and being able to go, that's not my storm. I don't want anything to do with that. That's nothing to do with me. And letting go of all those feelings of not being heard, not being valued, not being seen, and all of that junk that comes along in that. And let's face it, everybody's got their stuff. But being willing to separate me as a being from my experience has been paramount And the fact that I'm able to make that distinction at this point is a miracle to me, because you get so married to those old belief systems and those old patterns and those old stories that you buy them and you take them on as your own. And I've been able to rewrite my story and call BS where BS needed to be called, and walk away when I needed to walk away, set boundaries, and get the toxic, negative people out of my life. And unfortunately, some of those people are my parents. And it stinks and it is what it is, but I am so much healthier from not adopting those patterns anymore and not subscribing to those issues that were never mine in the first place.
Wow. We could probably just broadcast that everywhere, because it's so important to realize that we take on the belief systems and the stories and those patterns from our childhood, from things that we've experienced, or something that even somebody made a comment about you at some point in your life. And it may have only even happened once, and you're like, oh, that's me, I'm horrible, or I'm ugly, or I'm this or that. And you completely embrace that as your truth. And you have to break those cycles, and it's so important. And it's to see the breakthroughs through people when they realize that, wait a minute, that isn't my story, that I don't actually believe that. Where did that belief come from anyway? And when you start dissecting it and really finding out the truth about what that belief is, why it's there, how it showed up in your life, then you can go, done. I'm done with it. And have a new truth for yourself. Create that new story, that new belief for you, that you are worthy, deserving, strong, beautiful, inside and out. So important.
Another big, so somebody will make a comment these days, oh my gosh, you look fabulous. Oh. And it's always look, right? And I'm like, I'm quick to turn it around. Like, well, thank you. Obviously first, I appreciate that. But it was like, no, you should, I want you to feel how I feel. Like, if you think my body looks amazing, you should feel the amazingness on the inside, because this physical manifestation of what I am is nothing compared to what's going on inside. And a lot of people, they think I drink coffee or I have some kind of stimulant, or I'm like, no, I don't do caffeine. It's too much for me. I get a little wild and whatever. And it's just that my energy, I feel alive again. And if I can help others get a smidgen of what I've been able to find and cultivate, that's what fills me up, honestly. And I'm sure you could probably attest to the same as a coach yourself, is seeing those light bulbs and seeing those transformations and seeing people light up and just feeling their change for the greater is the greatest gift I could ever receive.
Absolutely. You gave me chills, because it's not just about, you lived in two different worlds. You lived as 100 pounds heavier, and that perception of yourself and how you think the world sees you and how the world sees you is very vastly different than what you're experiencing in your life today, looking like you do today.
Very true. And I didn't feel sexy. I didn't feel feminine. I didn't want anybody to look at me because I was afraid they were judging me. Like, oh gosh, what are they thinking that they're not saying? And funny story for you, this is a new one you don't know, is every once in a while I do this. Okay, so mostly I'm average. Okay, I'm not like woo all the time. But I think I had a job interview a while back, and I got all dressed up, and I needed to go to Sam's Club afterwards. And so I'm in my stilettos and I'm doing my thing, and I'm not really paying attention anyway. I just need some things and I'm going to leave. And every male in the store made sure to be like, do you need help? Do you need help? And I'm like, oh, no, thank you. But okay. And I'm like, what in the hell is wrong with these people? Like, why? What is this? And so I even get out to the car, and there's this guy wanting to take my cart back. And I'm like, this never happens. What is going on? And I felt good that day. And obviously I looked good, but it was like, 100 pounds ago, even if I had, done my hair and makeup, I probably wouldn't have got that kind of attention. And it's not to say, oh, hey, go me, I'm so fabulous. It felt awkward. It felt weird. I didn't enjoy it. It was more like, oh, I just want to go back to hiding again. This is not why I did this. But it is the unfortunate side effect of us gaining weight. And whether you're a man or a woman, we are treated differently. And I've worked with several male clients trying to get promotions or get into a different job, and they come to me saying, Melanie, I need to lose weight because I know statistics are showing that if I lose this weight, I have a better chance at getting this job. And I'm like, oh,
that is so sad.
it stinks, and it kills me. Just even telling you that, reliving that coaching session with that gentleman, it makes me want to cry. And no one deserves to be treated like that. And I think that everyone has worth and value at any size. But the thing is, and like you said, is we don't have that ourselves. Because at 253 pounds, the last thing I wanted to do was have attention. The last thing.
Right. It's you want to stay hidden. You want to not experience anything. You hold back.
Yes.
You don't go swimming. You don't play with your kids. You don't go out and do things with friends. You literally live a different life hiding instead of being out there and being who you really truly are on the inside, all because you're hiding. I always call it a fat suit. You're hiding within your fat suit. And it's so detrimental to your mental health, your emotional health, and even experiencing the difference of how you're treated by being this adorable little, hottie compared to how you felt.
Another to touch on is the fact that, that weight represented to me pain. That was pounds of pain that I had eaten or that I had suppressed, or I'll deal with that later kind of a mentality. And it was like a shield. It was protection. It was a safety net, if you will. It was a means to keep people away. That I wasn't ready to fully immerse myself in the world. And I think that a lot of people can resonate with that. And when I look at, when I'm out and about or I'm working with clients, and obviously sometimes it's genetics and whatever else, but I think more often than not, it's people just feel terrible and they don't know how to cope. They don't know what the steps to healing are. And I see people that have extra weight and my heart goes out instantly, like, oh my gosh, what are you dealing with? What is so heavy on your mind and on your soul that it's manifesting in your body? And I just want to help them. And that's the hard part, is I can't just walk up to people and love on them and be like, oh my gosh, what can I do to help you? They'd be like, get away, weirdo, right? To be ready. But that's how I've looked at this in my heart, and how I feel like as I got rid of the emotional weight, that physical weight fell off. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's the more internal work, the more inner size I did, the faster the inches came off, the faster the fat came off, the faster I felt better. So it was like this unique blend of all the different angles that I was going at this with. And that's why I coach the way I do. I used to think, I'm going to get my clients in for personal training, and we are going to, like I said, bring them to the brink of death and back. And then all is going to be well in the world. But they would bring back food records, and it's, McDonald's or some other fast food or donut shop or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, why are you paying me good money to do this with you? And you're just destroying yourself. You're sabotaging yourself. This makes no sense at all. And then that's when I thought, it might have been a good idea to be more interested in those psychology classes in college that I hated. And now I'm all about, wow, the psych, give me all the psych and the behavior change stuff. And because that's really where it's at. And I think that even making one change to start defeating those inner critics and getting rid of that fear and that judgment is going to move mountains for any kind of weight loss, because you're working where that weight loss started. Right? Because if you feel good, you're likely to make better choices. If you're feeling crummy, well, where's the cookie dough? Where's the ice cream? Where's the chips? Like, whatever, pick your poison, right?
So true. So true. I love that you call it pounds of pain. And it's not that I love the term. I just think it resonates.
Yeah.
It resonates. And I find the irony of it, because the pounds of pain, what are you hiding? You're filling your, you're stuffing down everything, food, emotion, you name it, and you're creating this weight. And it's a lot of weight, the physical weight, the emotional weight, the mental weight, all that weight. But the irony of it is you're trying to hide and you don't want to, like it doesn't make any sense that that's the go-to.
It's looking at my life and growing up with drug dealers and alcoholics. I didn't want that. I saw that was bad. It's like the Berenstain Bears, the bike lesson book of like, this is what you do not do. That's what my parents gave me. And that's the gift I pull out of my childhood experience. But then I was like, well, what is safe? What is legal to do that I can go to when I feel overwhelmed or I don't know how to deal with emotions? Because goodness knows I was not taught how to deal with emotions. And so I went to food. And it like you're saying, it just balloons and it becomes an addiction. And my husband, bless his heart, he was struggling with alcohol addiction a long time ago when we first got together. And it's weird how, like, say alcoholism or drug abuse or anything like that is got such a negative stigma on it. But look how many of us are using food as a drug of choice, right? As a means to cope and get through things. And helping him through his alcoholism really helped me realize what I was doing with food. It was like a click came. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm no different than you. I am doing this for the same exact reasons. I'm not comfortable. I don't feel good. I don't want to feel this anymore. I want to check out. And I was like, oh my gosh, it really gave me a newfound appreciation for people who unfortunately have addictions. And there's so many out there. We don't need to name them all, but the big ones are food, drugs, and alcohol, right?
And what's interesting that you said about that is people don't even realize that you can have a food addiction. Mm-hmm. Like that's the go-to drug that you look to help feel better, and because it tastes good in that moment, and it's your comfort. That's your comfort. Yes. Comfort food, it's wow. That's really an interesting perspective to note on that. I like that.
There was a lot of get to know myself and to find out who I was at my core, and getting to the bottom of, say, when I wanted to have a cookie dough binge is stopping myself. And I'm a visual person, so I would imagine a big stop sign like right in my face, blinking, like stop. And it was almost kind of like terrifying. I had to like and jolt myself. Like Tony Robbins has a lot of different strategies to get you out of your neural pathways and whatnot. That was mine. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And I would have a journal handy. And I would write down, I'm like, okay, what am I feeling? What emotions are coming out? What do I need right now? Because it wasn't the cookie dough, but the more I investigated my needs and actually attended to those needs, the easier this became. And eventually I didn't need the cookie dough anymore. I was like, oh, I'm sad. Okay, I'm gonna go get a hug from my kid, or I'm gonna go get a kiss from my husband, or I'm gonna call a friend. Like, there was different ways to fill up. And I think that goes into the next thing that I was working on, was completing myself so that I wasn't looking to other things like food or people or experiences to feel whole and to feel complete. And it was a wild blend of a lot of different things. And it didn't all come at once. It's seeming like that on this call, but it was kind of step by step going through the motions. But the more I understood about why I do what I do, and the blocks and the resistance I had to doing the healthy thing for me, the easier this became. And it was just having that courage and being vulnerable enough to sit in my crap for long enough to feel it and to acknowledge it, to give it a voice, and to understand exactly why I got where I was, because I knew how to get out. I just needed to identify, what is this? What does this mean? What do I want? And I needed to take that action.
It's incredible. And I would imagine that you still, to be completely real with everybody, there's still moments where you have to go, oh my gosh, stop. Like it's not, you're done. Like it's finished. You have to, it's always this blossoming thing that's coming up. You peel that layer and then something else might show up. You peel that layer, something else shows up. And it's not finished. You're never finished. It's always this growth and expansion. And as you become aware, you find a deeper seated issue that you didn't know was there. And it's this constant thing that you're working on, and it's okay. Everybody has this.
I had so many issues with that, Kimberly. You have no idea. I remember going to, I think it was a Healing the Body retreat, and I was feeling really good because I had like overcome some stuff. And my mentor comes up, and I don't remember what she said, but it sparked something. I'm like, what? I'm not done? No. I've invested all this time and this money, and I've changed this. Like, no. And I remember just being so pissed at her, like, no, nope, you can't talk to me like that, right? And I went home, and she reached out to me, and she says, you know, honey, you're gonna be growing and evolving until you're dead, because when you're dead, that's when you stop. And I'm like, no way, right? And so I had my little pity party over that, and I got over that. And it is true. And the fact that, you know, even the weight loss journey is always something that's going to evolve, because, you know, we get older and our metabolism changes, or heaven forbid we have an injury, or I have another surgery coming up, or, you know, life is just, it kind of blows up in our faces. And it's willing to be flexible and willing to be in a space where, even though I have a good grasp on how to lose weight, maintenance is a new animal, and it's always going to change. And that's the way life is supposed to be, because let's face it, we have a need for certainty, but we also have this need for uncertainty too. And we would get really bored if everything was the same all the time, and we knew what to expect, and there was no chaos or problems or stress. And I say that loosely because I'm like, I hate all those, but it makes us who we are, and it makes it interesting, and it gives us a reason to continue to put our best foot forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to reiterate, just because something's fixed doesn't mean it's going to not pop up again. I love that you're mad at your mentor.
No, because I think that this maintenance thing is a lot harder than I thought it was. I'm like, okay, I just don't track anymore, right? And then I can just do whatever I want. And I can to a certain degree, but it's like, oh man, you can always have to have a leash on yourself. You can go this far, and that's out the danger zone, or what we in our family call the guardrails. Like with the kids specifically, you like go anywhere in between, but you start hitting those or going over, and you're going to need to address this. And I think that that's been the struggle lately for me is how do I keep myself going in the direction I want to go, and fulfilled and motivated and excited and all these things. But my guardrails are much thinner now, right? Like there's less room for error. But I'm a trial and error person, so I'm like constantly out here, and my kids are always calling me. I'm like, no, you're listening too much, honey. Like, no. But that's it. It's just trying to be the best version of ourselves in any given moment, and giving ourselves some compassion and some patience, because our best is not always 100%, depending on how we're feeling emotionally or physically, or the stress levels, or heaven forbid if we've done something crazy with our nutrition. It's just learning to be present, be grounded, be in gratitude, and stay in that positive energy as much as possible, because that's what's going to get you to that next healthy choice. And that's how I live my life now. It's not per day, per week, per month, whatever. It's per moment. Mm-hmm. And moments really stink, and that's our chance to go, okay, what is this moment trying to show me? What is the lesson that the universe is trying to give me? And is this maybe an instance where I need to switch direction and shine some light on a possibility or an opportunity I wouldn't have otherwise paid attention to? And it's all about, for me at this point, being open. When I was heavy, it was explained to me, like we have this hose, right? And that's the universal energy, goes in and out. Well, I had mine kinked and like I had a vice grip on that thing. Like, nope, nothing's coming in or out. I don't even care if it feels good. No, 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 not safe, not comfortable. Forget about it. And so I learned to unkink that thing and let it do its thing. But that's a process. And I can tell you it's worth it to get there. But it's just one of those things, it's baby steps, one foot in front of the other, in a manner that feels good in the direction you want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if somebody wanted to start this process, what would you say is the first thing that you have people do?
Well, we would sit down and we would identify what the goal is. What do you want to do? A lot of times I'll be like, I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, but what about that 30-pound loss are you really trying to achieve? What feeling are you trying to get? And normally it's happiness, joy, confidence, peace, something of that nature, right? And then once we identify what it specifically is for that person, we look at barriers, obstacles, opportunities, and we develop an action plan. So really mitigating the things that are going to keep them from achieving that goal, or the things or people that are slowing them down, and working with them to get a clear path on where we're going. And from that point, the speed is up to the client and their readiness and their willingness to change, and how bad that this goal is pulling them towards it, which is the third and final thing, is tying some real, raw, powerful emotion to why they want to change in the first place. Because if I say, I want to lose 20 pounds for my 20-year high school reunion so I can feel better, to be less judged by people that I don't know because I haven't seen them in 20 years anyway. Well, that doesn't feel good. Versus, I want to lose 20 pounds so that at my 35-year wedding anniversary, I can wear the dress I wore when I first met my husband and have pictures and dancing. And, it's a different feeling.
Right.
So digging deep, getting underneath the, I want to lose 30 pounds.
That's so powerful. You're really tapping into that deep, deep rooted reason why. And that also is going to carry them through those moments where they want to give up. I love it. So how can people reach you? I have your website right here. I'll put it up, but share with how people can get in touch with you.
You can obviously go on the website, and there's all kinds of pictures, testimonials, videos. There's free video tips, all kinds of stuff for you to consume. But you can email me. My information is on the website. You can call or text me. It's also on there. I do have Facebook, Instagram, all those nice little social media outlets, also YouTube. But yeah, please don't be afraid to get a hold of me, because your change starts when you're ready. And sometimes you need a little pint-sized pain in the ass, which, hi, I love you.
And tell people how tall you are, because
I'm 5'1". I'm very pint-sized. But
you are. But that, I mean, to the physical transformation and that inner size transformation that you had to do to go from 5'1" at 200, your highest was 253?
Yes, ma'am.
Down to what you are today is so significant and such an incredible journey to be able to share with people and offer that opportunity to hold their hand and help them through it too is amazing. And I love that. I love your story. Thank you so much for being with me. And on Aphrodite Enterprises Inc. on Facebook, we will post all your information as well. If anybody's interested in finding where I'm at, you can go to my website, KimberlyACoaching.com. And today's episode was sponsored by Aphrodite Enterprises Inc. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and good luck, good health, and be unleashed. Woo!